Hey guys, SkipperReu here, and today I'm going to be testing the Lancer Evolution X in multiplayer in Forza Horizon 4. I am using a custom created tune by Ardno105, who appears in many of my Forza videos, including this one, so I thank him for that. I decided to test the Lancer as it is one of the most iconic cars in Asphalt 9, being the first one that everybody gets, and that's one thing that I'm trying to do. I'm trying to go through a lot of the most memorable cars in Asphalt 8 and Asphalt 9 that are also in Forza, so we can see any sorts of similarities or differences we might have there. Also, you guys really seem to enjoy the Forza videos that are of certain Asphalt 9 cars, especially the more well-known ones. So, let's see, who do we have in our first race? We've got Dumbnut and Neptune J in their Bentley Continentals. We got Meaty Potato in his Vox Carlton, Tecustido in his BMW Z4, Kevin in his Hot Wheels Studebaker, Race Plays and Ardno in their Lancers as well, Flame in his Shelby Daytona, Sacralite in his Ford GT40, Skipper in his BMW M2, and Laudica Jr. in also his Lancer. If you would like to join and be a part of these races, I'll put a link in the description to my Purple Team Discord. If you go to the Special Roles channel, you can choose the Forza Horizon 4 emote, which will give you the role, so you'll be notified every time I do a private lobby such as this one. I typically do it every other week on off days from streaming. Also, you may have noticed that many of us now have PT next to our names. Well, I am proud to announce the new Purple Team Club in Forza Horizon 4. If you do not have a club of your own, you are more than welcome to join the Purple Team one because, well, technically you can have up to like 5,000 members in a club, unlike in Asphalt 9 where you can only have 20, so yeah, come on, come all. So let's talk about the race at hand. I'm currently just into the second lap on this track that many of us have agreed that we have sort of a bittersweet relationship with, and I tend to agree with that because this track was one that, for whatever reason, for the longest time, I was just absolutely terrible at. And then, look at that, in this video, and in my last video, I think it was, I ended up getting some really good races on it. I've come to like it more. I still don't particularly care for it as much, although it does have some pretty narrow sections, like here, where Ardno and I have a little bit of a tussle. I pull out ahead for the time being, but, well, I still have an entire lap left. So we'll have to see how that goes. So how is the Lancer just as a car in this game? Well, as with many of the other cars that I've tested recently, it's not a king of its class, but it is still quite competitive, at least with the tune that Ardno and I are using, because we've just gotten quite far ahead of all of the competition in this race so far. But it doesn't quite stay that way. Somebody does eventually catch up, you'll see. But for now, Ardno and I are coming up to the third lap of the race, neck and neck, him less than a car length behind me it looks like, and we come up to and do a lap on Kevin, and push on ahead to see who will take the victory in this race. However, it is at this time that Sacralite comes up onto the map. He's been catching up for a little while now. He's in the Ford GT, and I'm trying to take my racing lines just perfectly so as to not let Ardno pass me. Unfortunately here I don't brake quite enough. I skid out, and that was my mistake that allowed Ardno to pass me. However, I'm still like just right behind him, but it appears that this has also allowed Sacralite to catch up just that little bit more. So it's me, Ardno, and Sacralite just barreling around these final turns as much as you can barrel in a Lancer, I guess. And I don't mean barrel like the Asphalt 9 barrel, like, you know, barrel, you know what I mean, probably, hopefully. But we're actually entering the final stretch of the race before the finish line at this point, having gone around the last of the sharper turns on the track. This is one of the circuit races which has a lot more straightaways, or at least long sweeping curves, than the rest of them. I wouldn't be surprised if you could get up to a higher speed on many cars on this circuit race than almost any other circuit race that you have, because so many of the other ones that I've played on have either just had a ton of turns, or just the turns that they had have been extremely tight, so that it was very difficult to pick up a lot of speed in them. Which is why, generally on circuit tracks, people will go for cars like the CLK, for example. I think that's the one, which is slower, however, it does have a very good handling, and it's able to get around the turns very easily. So to kind of avoid people picking a car that is just going to obliterate the competition, either in the long ones or in the short ones, I always try to pick a good variety of tracks. You know, it's kind of like you would see in Asphalt 9 multiplayer. So not only can I test my car in many different situations and many different kinds of tracks, but everybody else has to also pick a car that can do well on them, or risk doing really well on some, but not very well on a lot of other ones. Now, you will notice that in pretty much every single Forza video that I've done, I've always done road races because, well, this is the kind of car that is in Asphalt 8 and 9, the cars that are best on the road. So that's why I haven't really gotten a chance to do any of the dirt races or things like that. I just don't feel like it would be as interesting, and I'm not as interested in that. Now, contrary to popular opinion, I actually find Free Roam Rush a lot of the time to be somewhat enjoyable. If, and this is a big if you are doing dirt and you have a car which is good for off-road, which is why I never do Free Roam Rush in these ones. Because if you're in a Lancer or a Rimac or a Jesko or a Corvette or anything else that is in Asphalt 8 or 9, you're not going to be doing very well off-road, and I know that most people don't really enjoy that. So, if I ever do a video of a car that is an off-road one, I might put some Free Roam Rush in there just for the funsies, but we'll have to see if that happens. The only thing that I can think of doing an off-road one is if either some kind of off-road car comes to Asphalt 9, or I do a car that was in Asphalt Extreme, which is an idea that I could do. Let me know if that sounds interesting to you at all. Say, for example, the Aerial Nomad, which I think was a car that was fairly popular inside of Asphalt Extreme for a while. Don't quote me on that, as I never really got a whole lot into that game. So I'm not expecting to do that, but it's still an idea. So currently in this race, we've got Ardno and Skipper battling it out for first, and me and Meaty Potato are just in third and fourth place battling it out for these positions. We've also got a few new faces in this race. We've got Raceplace in his S2000, Monty in his Mazda RX-7, and Tangram in his Nissan GTR. And I just realized, I think this is the only Forza video that I've ever done where every single race had a completely full lobby. Kind of interesting. So as we come up to the final turns, which I actually take kind of okay on the last lap, definitely better than I did on previous laps, Ardno, I think he misses a checkpoint and thus gets put back a little bit, leaving me in second position with Skipper up ahead to take the victory and Meaty Potato not far behind me at all, but that was a very close one. I usually like to avoid putting a lot of circuit races in my Forza videos because I feel like they can be kind of repetitive, but when the races were as good as these were, I don't mind putting them in at all. So now we are coming into our final race, which is not a circuit race, in case you were wondering about that. We've got the Lake District Sprint. So I've got a couple of ideas of what I could do for my next Forza videos. I could test the BMW M2 with the SE livery from Asphalt 8 because Skipper and a couple of others have remade it inside this game. Yes, you can basically make any livery or decal you want in this game. It is just very painstaking. I've not tried it myself, but I know it takes a lot of time because you basically craft it out of a bunch of little parts. So yeah, you can imagine how long that might take to make some things very intricate. But that does mean you can make some extremely intricate designs, and I know some people have really pushed that to the limits and made some really cool stuff with it, so definitely hats off to those people. Another possibility is the Shelby 1000, which is apparently a 1000 horsepower Mustang, which should be pretty epic. It's kind of weird to think of a Mustang going even faster than the Shelby GT500, but that one will probably do it, and so I'm definitely curious about that one for sure. We'll probably test it when it comes out. And here, this was absolutely crazy. We basically had a four-way battle with Flame, Meaty Potato, and Ardno, and Skipper really not far behind either. This was one of the most, dense races that I played, I think, in all of these, where everybody was just super close to each other, or at least us five up front here, even over halfway through the race, coming up to 2/3 of the way through. And just like in Asphalt 9, some of my favorite races that I've played with Purple Team members in Forza Horizon 4, both for content and just for plain fun during the races, have been the ones where it was extremely close and tight throughout a lot of it, because you never really knew what was going to happen next. Like in the first race, Sacrolite could come out of nowhere and almost pass both me and Ardno. It didn't happen in that race, but it very well could have. We usually record 14 14 races, 7 in the first set, 7 in the next set, so that way, especially now, since more people than a dozen typically want to join each session, I'm able to get in a race with everybody who wants to do a race in the car at that time. Obviously, I can't put the entire 14 races in a video. It typically takes me an hour and a half to 2 hours to record all of these, but I try to pick some of the best ones that are overall representative of the time that we had. And we take second to Ardno in the final race, narrowly beating out Skipper and Flame. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like the video if you've enjoyed, and consider subscribing for more Asphalt and other games content, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye!